Have you ever wondered why so many older adults seem to fade after 80, even those who were sharp, active, and doing well just a few years earlier? It's easy to assume it's just genetics or luck. But the truth is, there's much more to the story. In this video, we're going to explore 5 unexpected reasons why many people struggle to live well past 80. These aren't the usual culprits, like smoking, poor diet, or lack of exercise. These are subtle, often overlooked factors that quietly chip away at health, even in people who've done most things right. The good news, once you understand what's really happening, you can take steps to change the outcome. So if you've ever wondered what truly stands in the way of a healthy, vibrant life after 80, and what you can do about it, stay with me until the end. These 5 insights might just help you age, not only longer, but better. Let's dive in. 1. Loss of microsocial engagement. One of the first and most overlooked reasons many older adults decline after 80 is the quiet disappearance of something called microsocial engagement. These aren't your big social connections, like family gatherings or old friendships. They're the tiny, everyday interactions that once filled your life without you even thinking about them. Things like saying good morning to the mailman, exchanging a joke with the grocery store cashier, waving to a neighbor walking their dog. These brief, casual moments may seem small, but they're deeply nourishing. They help regulate your nervous system, reinforce your sense of belonging, and keep your brain's social wiring active and sharp. But after 80, many people begin to lose these moments. They stop going to the store and start ordering online. They avoid chatting with strangers because hearing becomes harder. They stay inside because the weather feels too cold or their knees feel too unsteady. Little by little, those light-touch social connections fade, and with them, so does vitality. Here's the part most people miss. These interactions aren't just pleasant. They're essential. They quietly stimulate your brain, lift your mood, and signal to your body that you're still part of the living, breathing world around you. I knew a man in his 80s who stayed sharp simply because he walked to the same coffee shop every morning. He greeted the same staff. He nodded to the same 3 people on the corner. That 5-minute routine wasn't just habit, it was life-giving. It gave his day structure, kept him connected, and reminded him that he mattered. When these touch points disappear, the brain senses loneliness, sometimes not the deep, aching kind, but a subtle social starvation. And it responds as if under stress. Hormones change, inflammation rises, immune defenses weaken, and most critically, the brain's networks for memory, attention, and emotional balance begin to shrink. In plain terms, you feel older, faster. So if you've stopped talking to people during the day, stopped running small errands, or feel like you've started to disappear into the background of your community, it's time to gently push back. Because even the briefest human connections are medicine for the mind and body. They whisper to your nervous system, you still matter, you still belong. And that message might be one of the most powerful tools we have for aging well. 2. Overcautious inactivity. Another hidden reason many people don't thrive after 80. Overcautious inactivity. It sounds wise at first, being careful, avoiding risks, taking it easy. But there's a fine line between being careful and becoming too cautious. It often starts with a scare. Maybe you slip on the stairs or feel dizzy on a walk. So you start scaling back. You stop walking outside. You avoid bending, reaching, or climbing into the back seat. You sit more. And you stay sitting longer. Friends and family might even applaud your caution. Don't push it, they say. Better safe than sorry. But here's the truth. When movement stops, so does strength. And not just in your arms or legs, but in your coordination, balance, and body awareness. Your body isn't like a machine that rests to stay efficient. It's more like a garden. It needs regular tending. Without movement, your muscles shrink, your posture collapses, your inner stability fades. And once the core muscles weaken, those deep, central trunk muscles, balance starts to go too. I once knew a man named Walter, 82 years old. He slipped once during a rainy walk. No injury, just a scare, but that was enough. He stopped walking. He started watching TV in the evenings instead. Within 6 months, Walter lost 10 pounds of muscle. His legs felt unsteady. His doctor warned him, but the damage had already begun. Here's what's key. Walter didn't stop because he was weak. He became weak because he stopped. Now, of course, real risks should be taken seriously. Use handrails. Wear stable shoes. Clear your walkways. Use a cane if it helps. But there's a difference between managing risk and surrendering to it. When fear starts calling the shots, the body starts forgetting how to move at all. So ask yourself honestly, have I stopped moving? Not because I can't, but because I'm afraid of what might happen? Because staying alive after 80 isn't just about avoiding falls. It's about staying engaged in movement, whether slowly, carefully, or with support. Movement tells your body it's still needed. It keeps your brain alert, your heart strong, your reflexes responsive, and perhaps most importantly, it reminds you that you're still living. If you're still watching and these insights are resonating, drop a number 2 in the comments so I know you're here. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Your support helps us keep bringing you content that informs, inspires, and empowers you to age well. 3. Disrupted sleep cycles. From irregular light exposure, thus inside your body, there's a silent clock. It doesn't tick or chime, but it governs nearly everything. Your mood, your metabolism, your immune system, and even how your brain heals and resets while you sleep. This internal clock is called the circadian rhythm, and after age 80, it becomes especially delicate, more sensitive to disruption than ever before. One of the biggest culprits behind a misaligned circadian rhythm: too little light during the day and too much light at night. At first, it might not seem like a big deal. Maybe you've started dozing off in the afternoon, especially when sitting in a cozy chair. Maybe you go outside less, especially during colder months. In the evening, you leave the lights on a bit longer or unwind in front of the TV or tablet. Individually, these changes seem harmless, but together, they quietly send mixed signals to your brain. Your body starts to forget when it's supposed to be energized and when it's supposed to rest. Here's why it matters. Your body relies on natural light cues to stay in rhythm. Bright morning sunlight tells your brain it's time to wake up, move, be alert, send energy where it's needed. In contrast, darkness at night triggers the release of melatonin, a calming hormone that prepares your body for deep, healing sleep. But when your eyes are starved of natural daylight, and your evenings are filled with the glow of screens or overhead lights, those vital signals become scrambled. The result? You may find it harder to fall asleep, or harder to stay asleep. You might wake up groggy, even after a full night in bed. Your memory may feel fuzzy. Your energy may crash in the late morning. And over time, this misalignment does more than just make you tired. It disrupts immune function. It throws off hormone levels. It increases your risk for mood instability and cognitive decline. There's also something else at play: vitamin D. Your body naturally makes vitamin D when your skin is exposed to sunlight. But after 80, that ability weakens, meaning you need even more regular sunlight, just to maintain healthy bones, strong muscles, and a resilient immune system. I once spoke with a woman named Helen. She was 84 and had started feeling exhausted, mentally foggy, and down. Her blood work looked fine. No new meds, no changes in her diet. So what did her doctor recommend? Something simple. Spend 20 minutes each morning sitting by a sunny window with the blinds fully open. Turn off all screens at least 1 hour before bed. Within 2 weeks, Helen's sleep improved. Her memory sharpened. Her mood lifted. No pills, just light. A basic but powerful reset of her body's natural rhythms. So if you've been staying indoors with the curtains drawn, if you've been scrolling or watching TV late into the night, it might be time to shift your light habits. Try this. Get outside within an hour of waking up, even if it's just on the porch for a few minutes. Let your eyes soak in the natural light. Let your skin feel the air. In the evening, dim the lights. Turn off screens. Let your body ease into rest mode. These gentle changes can realign your internal clock. And that rhythm, once restored, helps every part of you work better. Because aging isn't just wear and tear. Sometimes it's deorganization, systems falling out of sync, and getting back in rhythm is how you tell your body, even at 85, we're still on schedule, we're still alive, we're still here. 4. Emotional suppression from loss and isolation. By the time you reach your 80s, chances are you've experienced more loss than most younger people can imagine. A spouse, a sibling, a best friend, sometimes even a child. And while the world may offer kind words, "I'm so sorry for your loss," what often goes unspoken is this: grief doesn't end, it accumulates. And after 80, many people don't just feel sad. They begin to suppress their emotions, not because they want to, but because they feel they have to. Maybe you tell yourself, "I should be used to this by now." Or maybe there's no one left who really understands the depth of what you've lost. So the tears are swallowed. The pain is tucked away. You put on a brave face. You go through the motions. But here's the thing. The body doesn't forget. Unprocessed grief doesn't dissolve. It gets stored deeply inside the body. And over time, it weighs you down. Quietly, physically, profoundly. It can show up as chronic fatigue, digestive issues, shallow breathing, sleep problems, weakened immunity. A subtle loss of vitality, like a light inside you has dimmed. Even if you look fine on the outside, even if you say, "I'm okay," your body may be carrying sorrow it was never allowed to release. I remember a man named George. He was 86 when his wife of 60 years passed away. He didn't cry much, said that wasn't his way, said he was managing. But over the next year, George lost weight. He stopped going to the senior center. He couldn't sleep through the night, not because of a new illness, but because his grief, unspoken, unprocessed, had settled into his body like a silent fog. The truth is, emotional pain doesn't need to be dramatic to be damaging. Sometimes the most dangerous grief is the quiet kind, the one that hides behind polite smiles and "I'm doing fine." Because by the time it shows up in your physical health, it's been there for a while. The connection isn't always obvious. What keeps people alive well into their 80s and beyond often has less to do with physical strength and more to do with emotional release. It's not about being cheerful all the time. It's about having a place to safely express the hard stuff. I miss her. I'm still angry. I feel alone. And not being judged for it. That kind of openness, what some might call emotional ventilation, gives the heart space to breathe again. And when the heart can breathe, the body can heal. People who live long, vibrant lives usually have some kind of outlet, a trusted friend they talk to honestly, a journal where they pour out their thoughts, a community group, a faith practice, or even a therapist who helps them unpack the quiet pain they've carried for years. Whatever the form, the principle is the same. What gets expressed can be transformed. What gets buried festers. So if you've been holding something in, not because you want to, but because you didn't know where to put it, it's time to make space, not just for the sake of your emotions, but for your health. Because the truth is, the heart can only carry so much before it starts to shut down. Not suddenly, but slowly, quietly. And if you want to live well past 80, not just breathing, but truly alive, you have to let it feel too. If you're still watching this and finding these insights helpful, comment number 4 below to let us know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love to have you with us. Click subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss our next video. Your support helps us continue making content that informs, inspires, and supports you. 5. Gradual loss of daily purpose. One of the most invisible reasons people stop thriving after 80 is the slow, quiet loss of something we don't often talk about: daily purpose. Not life purpose in some grand philosophical sense, but the simple kind, the kind that gets you out of bed each morning with something to do, somewhere to go, someone to see. Purpose doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be watering the garden before the sun gets too hot, feeding the neighborhood cat that waits outside your door, writing a letter to your granddaughter, tightening a loose hinge on the back gate. These small routines may seem trivial, but when they begin to slip away, when mornings arrive with no reason to move, and evenings pass without anything meaningful to reflect on, something inside begins to dim. The body listens to the mind, and when the mind no longer sees a reason to push forward, the body stops trying too. Appetite fades, movement slows, and the internal systems that once kept you strong, they don't break down. They simply go quiet, waiting for a reason to wake up again. It's easy to miss because it often happens gradually. Maybe your weekly bridge game got canceled. Maybe your church group disbanded. Maybe the family visits less often. Or you stopped volunteering when your knees began to ache. You tell yourself it's normal, just part of aging. But deep down, you feel it. The days blur together, each one quieter than the last. I once met a woman named Ruth, 88 years old, and more alive than most people half her age. She didn't have a large family. She wasn't wealthy or in perfect health. But she had something most people overlook: a routine. Every Monday, she wrote postcards to shut-ins from her church. Every Thursday, she made soup and froze it for a local shelter. Every day, at 4 p.m., she sat by her window to watch the neighborhood kids walk home from school. She knew their names. She waved. They waved back. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave her days texture. It gave her heart rhythm. It gave her life continuity. And that's the secret no one talks about. The body stays alive as long as it believes it's needed. Purpose, even the smallest kind, is like fuel. It tells your cells to keep repairing, your organs to keep functioning, your brain to keep learning. When you lose that sense of relevance, when you feel like your presence no longer matters, the flame inside begins to flicker. That's why people who age with vitality and grace often have something anchoring their day: a pet, a garden, a journal, a prayer, a morning walk or ritual, a simple phone call that gives the day shape. What matters isn't the size of the task, it's the consistency. It's knowing that when you open your eyes in the morning, there's a reason to rise. So if you've been feeling adrift, like your days have lost their shape, don't ignore it. That's not just sadness. That's a signal. Your body asking for structure again, for connection, for purpose. Because in the end, longevity isn't just about having a beating heart. It's about having a heart that wants to beat, and that quiet desire to keep going, to stay connected, to matter. That's what carries people beyond 80 into lives that still feel full. Final thoughts. As we come to the end of this video, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful truth. Most people don't fade after 80 because of one big moment. It's not a diagnosis or a fall or a birthday that suddenly changes everything. It's the slow, quiet fading of rhythms, of habits, of reasons to stay engaged. And often those changes are so subtle, you don't even realize they're happening until something inside you feels dimmer than it used to. But here's the good news. Just as those shifts happen slowly, they can also be reversed slowly. One walk outside, one honest conversation with someone you trust, one small stretch in the morning, one thing you do, not because you have to, but because it brings meaning, structure, or joy. That's how you begin turning things around. So think back to the 5 unexpected reasons we covered today. Which one surprised you the most? Which one felt a little too familiar? And more importantly, which one are you willing to act on, even in a small way, starting today? Because you have more power than you think, not to stop aging, but to change the way you age. If you're willing to stay awake to the quiet shifts, to protect your rhythms, to honor your feelings, to rediscover your purpose, then you're not just going to reach 80. You're going to live beyond it, fully, deeply, and on your own terms. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share one thing you learned or one change you plan to make in your life. Your insights matter to us. And if this video helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating content to inform and inspire. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.